at usually any particular kind of point in the week. And so clearly you're going to have like the PlayStation faithful jump on that and kind of throw that up, but it's so odd that you never see them talk about this type of news. And you know, when it comes out to being something positive for Xbox, it's just so unsatisfying to see people just continually just hate for no reason. And I hope that, you know, people understand that at the end of the day, you know, Microsoft has done some good things, they've done some bad things. Sony's done some good things, they've done some bad things. It's not as cut and dry as so many people make it out to be, as Sony good, Xbox bad, right? It doesn't work like that. Yes, it is disappointing that we haven't got a first-party AAA this year from Microsoft. However, they've set themselves up to really have a great amount of games coming in the forthcoming years. You know, again, there's always bad and there's always good. On Sony, hey, raising the prices of games, raising the prices of console, that's bad. Hey, but they come out with a great game like God of War Ragnarok, that's good. So again, there's always these ebbs and flows of these things. It's never just cut and dry, in my opinion. But it is interesting to see these sort of things happen, and I would love to hear what everybody's thoughts are on this. You know, it's just one of those things that you just don't see too much of, and it is nice to hear an official statement from somebody in the know that's not like one of these pundits that are out there, you know, kind of going out there kind of just running their mouth and don't know what they're talking about, right? There's a lot of those. There surely is. But when it comes down to it, we get the actual info from the developers themselves, and so this is something that everybody can kind of look at and go, well, you know, this is the truth right here. So let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Please leave a like on this video. I'm looking to get 100 likes on all the videos that I do. It is a small goal, but it is a goal nonetheless, at which I am attempting to hit, so I could really use your help with that. So thank you guys very much. If you watch the video, please just leave it a like. It doesn't really take much time. Yeah, so, you know, just would be appreciative. At any rate, so we've heard all this hoopla around the Xbox Series S. It's holding back this, it's doing that, it's doing this, and you know, listen, I've said this many times before. The PS4 being developed for God of War didn't hold back God of War Ragnarok, in my opinion. I mean, people go, oh, it's a PS4 game. It's a gorgeous game, probably a top 5 graphical looking game. Simply because it's not a full open world game doesn't mean it was held back. I think the fact that they cross-gen created for it, it actually helped the game because it made it, you know, be able to run that much better. I mean, anytime you can get a game that looks that good and you can run at a frame rate of like 90, I think that's amazing. I'll take that over what's considered next gen with some shadows or ray tracing at 30 frames or less, like, to be honest with you, because that's so clunky in comparison, whereas God of War looks absolutely stunning and runs so great with the HDR and the high frame rate as well. So according to this, a developer says the Series S is going to hold up for a good while, according to a developer. So whether or not the Series S is going to be able to stick around for as long as this generation actually lasts, you know, that's really going to be something that is going to come down to Microsoft themselves. It's already 2 years in. Many, of course, has made their opinion known at the same time, but I feel like the Xbox Series S has its fair share of fans who believe it is a sufficiently powerful machine, and there are others who are less convinced about the gap between it and the Series X. The funny thing is, to me anyway, that, and I'll get back into reading this in a second, but is that for these things that are $299, Microsoft has taken a $200 loss on there. So these things cost $500 to make. I don't know. I don't get why people are so upset by this. They've already kind of enhanced these things and freed up more memory for development and things like that. So I don't know. Just I don't really believe that it's holding back anything. Someone who falls in the category of it being perfectly fine is Paulo Luis Santos, game director at Flux Games, the developer of the recently released fighter Cobra Kai 2 Dojo's Rising. Speaking during a recent interview with Gaming Bowl, which I'll link in the description, when asked about the weaker variant of the current gen of Xbox consoles, he said that he feels there's enough to differentiate the Xbox Series X and S, and that the latter should be able to hold up for a good long while yet. I believe that the customer that purchases the Series S is aware that it's not the same specs as the Series X and is generally fine with that, so it shouldn't be a huge problem. if it's slightly different from its more powerful sibling. That being said, I think in general Series S should hold up good for a while, and since these technologies evolve so fast, it's super hard to predict how long the life cycle will be. Microsoft, of course, has remained insistent that Series S doesn't hold back game development, but rather advances it owing to how much more accessible it is, thanks to its cheaper price and greater availability. Some developers have talked recently in the past, though, about the constraints in its relatively weaker hardware puts on essentially any game that intends to release for Series X as well. Whether or not it turns into a significant issue for developers at large remains to be seen. So, listen, we'll see what happens, but, like, at the end of the day, I feel like Microsoft did the right thing with getting, a cheaper console out there. It's the one that sold the best for them. Like I said, it's a good little console. There's multiple ones in this house, the kids all have them and things like that. Whereas if it weren't for, that affordable console, they certainly wouldn't have had to upgraded. We wouldn't have upgraded them from the 1S's probably for a while, and they don't share, so it's like you had to buy each of them their own thing or whatever. So yeah, it's a little bit strange, as we get into this situation where we're going into next year where games aren't going to be cross-gen anymore. I think a lot more people are going to be picking up a Series S, and it makes all the sense in the world with Game Pass and all these games coming out that are going to be only on current gen. I think that we're only tapping into the future viability of the whole platform as an entirety, and I think that's a good thing. I think Series S people, you have to remember, right, the people that watch these videos or that go to these sites, they're not ones that, a lot of them probably don't even have a 4K TV, right? Like only 44% of houses, I think, in North America are 4K. My kids, they don't have 4K TVs. They have 1080p TVs, like LED TVs, because they could have had 4K TVs, but they had like an option, get a smaller 4K TV or get, a bigger LED TV, and so they unequivocally chose the bigger TVs. It is what it is, like a lot of people just honestly do not care about that stuff, and so when you see this kind of stuff come about, I can vouch for that. Now I do, right? Like there would have been no need for me to upgrade to a PS5 and Xbox Series X when I did if I didn't have a TV with the LG OLED that I got that could fully take advantage of it. But since I was already set up for that, then it was not a big deal. But seeing this, it's like, I kind of think Microsoft doesn't get enough credit for this. They just get so much flack, and I don't really understand that. I think they've done a fantastic job of doing this, and I think that it's going to get even better because games have been playing incredibly well on it, and especially if you're not a person that cares about resolution. Like, why would you care what somebody else thinks about this? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing that I'm kind of talking about when it comes to this type of announcements, right? Like, we see that gamers are out there and they're going to be excited about the future of what's coming, and maybe not everybody wants to spend $550 on a console. There are so many different other types of gamers out there than hardcore, and I think we kind of forget that at the end of the day. So hopefully you guys will let me know what you think down below, but that's just how I feel about it. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.